Good morning, St. Francis, and good morning, people of God. It is Monday, the 31st day of January, 2022, the last day of January, Monday of the fourth week of Ordinary Time, the fourth week of the year. It is the memorial also of St. John Bosco, who was the support for the youth, particularly in the city of Turin, Italy, during the Industrial Revolution, when there was a lot of abandonment of young people, and a lot of them fell into delinquencies and all kinds of other things. And so remember his work with young people and how he helped to deal with their issues and help them to see the greater love that God has for them, and that they are capable of being lovable, using love rather than punishment as a way to relate to young people. Perhaps something we still need to work on even today. But coming to you this morning from the parking lot of the lower parking lot, which is the parking lot basically for our school, the Franciscan school, because today is also the second day of Catholic Schools Week 2022. And so this week throughout the United States, we celebrate Catholic education from elementary on up to high school and beyond. And so remembering and celebrating the good work that happens here at the Franciscan school all this week. This day we celebrate the community that we are, the community of educators, the community of people who grow in love and understanding of God's gifts within us, and be able to share those gifts and encouraging each other to share those gifts with one another. So happy Catholic Schools Week 2022 on this day that celebrates community. Our readings for today, however, are not necessarily geared to that. It is St. John Bosco. There are special readings that could be for him, but again, our readings of the day are a little bit more problematic. In the first reading, still in the book of Samuel, we now see the problematic, tenacious, and tenuous ties of family relationships between David and his son Absalom. Again, it's and this terrible story that begins to evolve today, where Absalom gathers some people in revolt against David's rule as king of Israel, because Absalom doesn't think it's very good. His name means father of peace, but he is anything but that. And so what's happening, he's the third son of David, I believe, and because of a lot of other kinds of things, he was very good looking, I guess, and he was very charismatic and whatever it is, and I guess it goes to his head in one way, and people who are unhappy with the way that David has run things now want to back Absalom as the successor. And so David has to flee with some of his men who are still loyal to him, because Absalom's armies are gaining ground and gaining power. And we're going to see where this kind of ends up today. But again, all of this coming because, again, David took Bathsheba, the wife of Uriah the Hittite, as a wife, and had Uriah killed. If we had Mass on Saturday, the reading for that is basically the prophet Nathan's rebuke of David for having done such a terrible thing. And again, David only thinking about himself and of his own passions and desires, and destroying the life of one so that he might have what he thinks he needs as king. And so the punishment of God is that sadness will become part of his life and part of his house. And we see that, unfortunately, beginning with Absalom, the third son of David. With that is connected, again, another exorcism. We're still in Mark's gospel. And again, every time you turn over a stone, there's a devil or a demon, whatever it is. And so the same is true here. This is the longer exorcism that, again, happens of a man who is, amongst some graves and howling and whatever it is. And Jesus casts out the demon from this man. And the demons say, just don't abandon us. Let us go into something else. And there are pigs and swine. And so they go into the pigs, and they drive the pigs crazy, and the pigs go off over a cliff, which again then leaves the sort of demons now without anything again. So where do they go there? So it's a complicated story with a lot of open holes. But it is again another experience of the fantastic in Mark's gospel that sometimes there's a lot of. And the idea with this always is the sense of Jesus offering a healing, of Jesus trying to correct some of the sadness in this world, some of the pains and torments of this world, and the people basically seeing this happen and asking him to go away because it's just too much for them. They cannot take this new course of things. It was better to have a crazy man running around a cemetery and graves and frightening people to death rather than seeing him healed. Now, again, the way in which Jesus does that without regard for somebody else's property, and again, this pig farmer who again would not have been a Jew, but would have been a Gentile, and loses all of his income because the pigs go and kill themselves. Again, there's lots of things that Jesus does not necessarily deal with. but the sense of the healing, the sense of being able to create anew or trying to redirect anew some of the pains of this world that this world experiences is again another sign of the presence of the Messiah in our midst. And so the focus upon that and the need and the necessity to focus upon that is kind of where the gospel brings us today. That still in a world that has a lot of issues, a lot of problems, a lot of unhappiness, there are still signs, of God's goodness, of God's peace, of God's care in this world for us and for this creation in which we live. And we're asked to basically make us realize the fact that we need to care for each other, we need to look out for each other, that we need to stand with each other. It's one of the hallmarks of Catholic education in this world, something we try to teach our students, something that helps again to show forth the reign of God in our midst. And may the Lord give you his peace.